And we are live. It's your favorite insurance agent, DarnaldJr. And this is FinLit Live. This is the show where we talk about personal finances. And today we are going to be talking about how to get your credit right so you can start building wealth, generational wealth for you and your family. It's so important. That's one of the keys to start unlocking the wealth of a real estate. So this is going to be a great show because I have an expert not only in credit, but she's also a mortgage and mortgages, and so it's going to be a phenomenal show. So stay tuned and let's get lit. All right, without any further ado, let's bring on our guest, Tracy Thompson. Hey, Tracy, how's it going?
Hey, how are you? I'm going pretty good. How about yourself?
Fantastic. I know Tuesdays are crazy days for you, so I appreciate you for taking time out your busy schedule to be on the show. How about you go ahead and introduce yourself? Who are you, where are you from, and what are you up to?
Hi, my name is Tracy Thompson. I am from Houston, Texas. Not born and raised, but raised, I say that. I am a financial advisor. I'm an author. I'm in the mortgage industry. I do a lot. I'm a public speaker. And I'm also a credit specialist. So I kind of do a lot of things that kind of educate and help people in the community.
Woo, I want to take a nap. Just listen to all your credentials. Man, you got a lot going on.
I know, right?
So, what is the backstory? How did you get involved in so many different avenues?
Well, honestly, I love to educate, right? And because I think for us, um, I think a lot of people just have lack of education. And one of the things that I was one of them, and one of the things that I always wanted to do was educate. So I have a degree in business. However, I didn't gain a whole lot when I was in college. I learned more so outside of that. So just about trying to help people gain financial wealth and understand how you can go, get your credit and stuff in order. Because a lot of things were not taught when you were young. And let me just say that because you just not something that you talk about around the table. So just knowing that I've taught a lot of classes and hearing people saying that they didn't know and that home buying is not something that's like they were ever taught and that would never happen for them. I wanted to change that aspect. I wanted to show them and help them to achieve those goals so they'll be able to have generational wealth for their kids and grandkids and so forth.
That's awesome. Well, it sounds like you have a good heart about it, which is great. And so, like you said, I have a Baylor business degree. They didn't teach anything like this in college. And that's definitely the purpose of the show, is because we want to know, we want to learn. And so we appreciate you for gleaning your wisdom and sharing your wisdom with us. And so, what are some of the pointers that you have as far as building credit in order to be able to buy a new house? I know it's a really crazy time in the housing industry right now. Mortgage rates are the highest they've been in a long, long time. And so there's a lot of topics to talk about right now, but share us, what tips and pointers do you have, especially in this crazy market right now?
So one of the things that I would say that for some reason, I don't know why people are so scared. I hear people calling me all the time and said, I have not checked my credit in months. And with all the identity theft that's going on right now, a lot of that stuff could be easily corrected, right? But you have to take the initiative and actually take accountability, and just kind of, check your credit and to understand it. So one of the things that I do notice is that a lot of people have a lot of different addresses and a lot of different names and a lot of different things on their credit report, a lot of different inquiries, and that actually can help help or hurt your credit profile. So one of the things I tell a lot of my clients is, well, let's kind of stop and do an analysis first, and let's see kind of what's on here to see where I can kind of help you and guide you, right? Because of course I am a credit specialist and I do have a credit restoration program. And mind you, I say restoration and not repair, because you want to restore your credit and not just repair. Because at the end of the day, if you want to just keep repairing it and taping it up, you keep having the same issues. So we have to get to the bottom of what's going on and get your profile cleaned up, because a lot of times you can have 700-800 scores, but if your profile is ugly, they still would deny you.
Wow. So it sounds like it's a bit of a process to restore. So, what would you say is the key difference between restoration and repairing? Like, what are some of the key differences? Because you hear about all these credit card repair programs that are popping up left and right, and how do you know who to trust, who not to trust? Like, what are some of the things you look for when it comes to restoring your credit?
Well, one of the things I would tell you too, like I said about you have to educate yourself and be educated. Um, and a lot of the credit repair companies will probably kill me right now, but I just try to be truthful, right? And so collections are usually a little easier to get off, opposed to charge offs, late payments. It's just different tricks of the trade that you can use, like, writing a goodwill letter or something like that to help get the late payments off. But charge offs are usually kind of hard unless you want to do a pay and delete, which a lot of these companies don't do that. So that's what I mean by restore, because we don't want to repair and then people are doing certain things that they shouldn't do in the background, and then things come back on your credit. Are you still doing the same thing? So, like for me, and I have a credit restoration 6-month planner workbook that I published on Amazon, and it actually teaches you how to budget. It actually teaches you how to understand, because if somebody tells me they want me to restore their credit, and I'm not teaching you or educating you and helping you to understand about your credit profile, you just continue making the same mistakes, right? So you want to restore it back to the original way it was before you messed it up. So we want to make sure that that's like if you go to the doctor's office and they, okay, they shove medication down you, but you're not doing anything on your end to help you restore your health to the original way it was when you was born, or the original way that God planned it to be. So if you're just repairing it and just kind of taping it up, then eventually, tape can be wear and tear as well. And it can come off. The bandages can come off. So at the end of the day, you want to be able to know to make sure you don't put yourself back in them same situations. So we want to restore it to the original profile that it was before it was messed up.
Man, that's huge. And I think, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, does a lot of it have to do with mindset of the person? Is mindset huge?
Correct. Because once you start getting to them 700, 800 scores, I've seen people do all the time. I have people call me crying, "Oh, Miss Tracy, my scores in the 700, 800s. They get these big limits. They go out here and put their stuff more in debt." And life is just life, y'all. Because at the end of the day, your job is not promised. There's a lot of things that's not promised to you. And so, what if something happens where you're not able to pay off the debt that when accumulated, because now you have perfect scores, you want to get these $50,000, $60,000 credit lines, and now you can't pay them. And then all of a sudden your mindset is still the same way it was before, right? So you have to change your mindset of saying, you know what, I got good credit, I don't want to mess it up. Pay my bill. I'll get, I charge my credit up, I pay my bill. But a lot of them just say, I just pay the minimum. You need to pay a little bit more than the minimum, because you never know what might happen. So if you're staying, like, how they saying back in the day, and I still say it, you make more money, you get more debt. So if you have that same mindset, because millionaires and billionaires, I was working with a guy years before, one of the CEOs at one oil and gas company, and he drives around in a little Honda, because he was like,
Wow.
every little extra money that I make, I put it in a savings account or an emergency fund, and I don't go make more debt. But if your mindset is not right and you're not educated and you don't know how to budget, you're going to continue putting yourself in the same situation, even if we do repair your credit.
Wow, that's huge. So, like, what is one key pointer to help people break out of that mindset? Like, I feel like it's a habit that people develop into that mindset, but it seems like it'd be like turning a cruise ship, trying to get out of it. Like, what are some of the pointers to get outside of that mindset?
Well, first to me, I would say, so right now I used to teach a 16-week class. I house about 11 mentees right now. And so we would do a class, and I right now still take inbox. Like, I don't even charge people, even though I can charge for consultation. Sometimes you got to get a good mentor. Again, my book is on Amazon. That's kind of a good way to kind of stay on task. I always tell people to journal. You need to make sure that you get spirals. I have spirals everywhere, right? You just have to get into a point of changing your mindset and get with a good group of people, right? Because if your mindset is not right, especially our younger generation, they like to show off a lot. There's a lot of older people like to do the same thing. But sometimes you don't learn from your mistakes if you don't bump your head. So I'm not saying that life is not going to hit you. I'm not saying that you're not supposed to bump your head, but hopefully that you learn from it, because if you keep making the same mistake, that's just insanity. Like you keep doing the same thing, making the same mistake, and expecting a change is not going to happen. So you have to really stay firm and learn and get into a good group with some good with a good mentor, or just a good group of people that can kind of help you get on a path of being debt free and being able to understand about credit.
Yeah, it's the big ugly A word that most people don't like. Accountability.
I know.
Right? People avoid accountability like the plague, right?
Right. And self-evaluation. They definitely don't want that neither.
Right? That part. So that's awesome. So we talked about the problem. What are some of the advantages? Like if they do get their credit right, like what are some of the stories? You don't have to share names, but what are some stories you've personally seen where people actually followed your plan, they stayed on track, and now they're in a better place because of going through your program?
Well, it's funny that you asked that, because I'm actually closing on a loan tomorrow. And I was talking to her yesterday, and I was telling her, I was like, man, we've been at this for a minute. And she was like, yes, because she was in my credit restoration program. And she was going to buy a house in November. A collection came on there. She stayed contacting me. We stayed working at it, and it finally came off. And then she was able to get approved for a house. And I work real hard for my clients because, one, I want to be a blessing to them in order for me to be blessed. So a lot of times, I do kind of go over and beyond. The constant time could be a little stressful, but I want to prove and prove that narrative of maybe it's just not my time, or maybe it's just not for me. It's for everybody. So please stop saying that. You just don't have the right people in your corner to kind of help you achieve those goals. So with her, I was so excited because she's closing tomorrow. I had 2 closings that I did with 2 ladies that was in an active Chapter 13 bankruptcy. And it was hard, but I tell people all the time, if you're okay with being on a ship, and if the ship starts falling to pieces, are you going to stay there and we're going to pick them, the boat back up and put it together and make it? Or are you going to jump ship? If you're going to jump ship, we can't work together. But if you can hang in there with me, and I promise you, I'll work as hard as you work and we'll get it done. But if you just stay in the program and understand, and I'm very transparent. I've been there. I've had low scores. I've had, trying to figure things out. When I got laid off 3 years ago, I told myself I was retiring corporate America and I wanted to help more people. And that's what I do. I mean, I've gave up my commission. I've done a lot. I've had, worked overtime, and then just so happened my husband got laid off 2 weeks after I did, and we've been into this thing together, and he's my processor, so he works with me and we work together to try to make it happen for our clients. And we definitely do pray for our clients every night. So it is definitely possible, and it's achievable. You just have to stay with somebody that's good, that can tell you exactly the truth. I'm not going to lie and say, hey, come with me and I can get your whole credit in order. And then I get people come to me all the time and say that they pay people to do their credit, and the same thing. It's the same thing on there, because these people are not telling you the truth and they're taking your money. So I'm going to tell you the truth. It's hard to get charge-offs off, but a lot of my lenders don't care about charge-offs. It's definitely hard to get collections off at times as well. However, a lot of my lenders, it depends on how much the charge-off of it could be 5% of that, or we go and pay these little small these collections off. It's ways to work around so everybody can achieve home ownership. You just have to know and understand the process. That's it.
That's awesome. Well, let's pivot a little bit. And you are a mortgage broker too. So let's talk about this current real estate and mortgage situation. Like, it's a fascinating time to buy a house, because seems like there's a lot of new programs that are starting to come out, or programs that were kind of under the radar that are coming more to the surface. Like one of them I heard of recently, you could probably expound on it, is FHA is allowing to do 100% loans now, LTV. And then, have you heard about that program? Are you familiar with it?
So I don't know. I mean, I've never heard of that. And I mean, we listen and I listen to all the news and stuff that come out. We still at 3.5 and 96.5% on the LTV. I promise you that is really new to me on the 100% with FHA. Um, yeah, I mean, we do have down payment assistance and other programs that can accumulate. I mean, that can come together to get that 100% LTV, but I don't know about the 100% LTV. Now, if you've heard about it and it's news, then I need to go find it. But if you've seen a
Right?
flyer, if you've seen a flyer running around and some real estates or some people saying it, then a lot of times they say that just to get people, and it's not true. Because we have a whole group of 2,000 loan officers that I'm a part of, and I promise you, a lot of times we see them flyers and we just laugh about it because it's not true. So I'm not saying, like I said, for me,
Bring the truth. That's what we want to hear. That's why we're here. Bring the truth.
I'm just saying a lot of our real estate agents are sometimes post things that I feel like that they should not even cross boundaries with the lender side. Stay in your lane. And I talk to a lot of them about that. But at the end of the day, if it's something that I don't know about, I'm sure we would have heard about it in my group about 100% LTV on FHA, because FHA is funky. They don't play them games. So I can't really say that that's true, but you know, I gotta research it, but I seriously doubt it. But you know, hey,
you're good. But talk about some of the down payment assistance programs, because most people aren't aware that programs like that exist.
Right. So it's a lot of down payment assistance programs. I am currently in the state of Texas, but I am licensed in different states. Um, the only thing that I would tell you with the DPA programs is actually they just rolled out a new one a couple of weeks ago in Texas where your debt to income. So I do a class every other week where you can get on my class and it's free. It's a free home buying seminar. And what I do is I talk about how to understand debt to income on the front end and the back end. Your front end is your housing expense, and your back end is your debt to income. Like how much debt do you make over your income? And if it's over 50%, some of the DPA programs will not take you. But it's a new one that just came out that you can go up to 55 as long as your income is under, I believe, 90,000. I had a lady that the lady that we're gonna close on tomorrow. She had to bring like close to 15,000 to the table, and she's like, "Oh my God, this is not gonna work for me." So just so happened, the program had just rolled out prior, and again, I told you I pray real heavily for my clients, and so they came in. I was like, "Hey, she qualifies for it." So guess how much she got to bring to the table tomorrow? Like she only has to bring $332 to the table tomorrow.
Wow.
Such a blessing from 18,000, like literally, right? Now her scores is, like a 625 or something of the sense.
Wow.
But again, it's just a matter of if you hold on and stay on the boat, it's gonna be rocky. Don't give up. I promise you, I have you. So down payment assistance is good, but you have to go with their interest rate. So like some of the down payment assistance, because the interest rates are funky right now. If you want 5%, it might be in the eights. If you want 3% or 2%, it might be in the sevens. Now, this new down payment assistance program, as long as your unit income limits, you can go all the way to, we can get a 6.875 interest rate, and I think it goes to 4%. So when you're looking at 3.5% down on a lot of these programs, then if they give you 4%, you still got a little money left over that goes towards your closing costs. So, they have them. It's a lot of programs out there that they have. So, you have to just be honest. And another thing that I tell my clients, I am your attorney. I got to go before the judge or the DA. If you lie to me and they bring something up during underwriting or whatever, then I'm going to be very upset. So tell me everything from the beginning to the end so I can go out here and plead your case. But if you decide that you want to tell me half the stuff, and then I would go over here and they didn't seen something and then it's not what it's supposed to be, then the deal is gone. So
yeah. And guess what? They're gonna find out. Right? Oh my gosh. Going through the mortgage process, they ask for everything except your blood type, correct?
They do. They do. And then
So,
petty stuff too. And I'll be like, why do you even need this? Now, I fight sometimes too. I go look at FHA guidelines. I go and see what it is that they're asking for, and then I do a snippet, and they're like, "Oh, okay, well, we don't need it," because sometimes they just don't know or they forget. So you really got to have somebody that's going to really fight. I've been doing it for 17 years. Kind of know, some of the ins and outs. I did get out at one time when the mortgage industry went crash back in 05, 06, and went into oil and gas field, and then decided when they laid me off, you know what, I'm just going to try it again. So now I'm back.
we're
So
back. Awesome. Well, we appreciate everybody that's tuning in. If you have any questions for Tracy, feel free to type in the chat and I'll bring it on the screen and have her answer questions that you have. It could be about credit, it could be about buying a house in this time, about mortgage, interest rates, etc. And so while they're doing that, what are some resources you would recommend for people to have as far as it could be either credit or mortgage or anything that's your expertise?
So I always tell people, and even in my home buying seminars, like a two by two by two, 2 by 2 by 2. So it's best to get with a loan officer or either myself, and try to do an analysis. So what I do for a lot of my clients, I do a soft pull. You fill out an application, we do a soft pull, and we go over your credit one by one by one. And so one of the things that I do try to look at, now we do have people that can take you at a 580 score, but I do try to get you guys to at least a 620 or 640, which would be good. Then we want to do an analysis to kind of see how I can get you to that credit score, right? Also, if you're self-employed, a lot of people need to understand the difference between if you've been in the business for 5 years, they might not ask for last tax return the last year. If you've been in the business less than 5 years, they'll probably ask for the last 2 years. We do have bank statement programs. So there's a lot of resources out there, but I think if you talk to somebody that's in the industry that kind of understands, and when I do a soft pull, it's not a hard pull. I can kind of tell you there, and then I let you upload your docs. We kind of go over it. I'll play around with it, and then I'll say, okay, hey, this is what you kind of can qualify for. So even before I even pull it, because if you pull somebody's credit and then now you want to play around with it, and then it's not what the people want, then they got a ding on their credit report. Now they got to have an inquiry. So what the main resource to me is to go find a good loan officer that can actually help you and get you to where you need to be. But if you're just like a straight W-2, credit is good, you have a 401k or you have some type of, assets in your bank or whatever, then we should be good to go. It shouldn't take that long. But just to be educated, like the difference between down payment assistance and closing costs is two totally different things. Know about reserves that you might have, understand how the automatic underwriting system might work, like little things like that. You know what I'm saying? You need to really understand this whole process, because a lot of times people say, oh, I got a 700 score. Oh, I can do this or I can get that. But if the system is not liking something on your credit report or something going on and I can't get you an automatic approval, then I have to try to get you a manual underwrite done. And so that's a whole different beast. So just pair up with somebody, a loan officer or somebody. I know a lot of these realtors say, well, just come with me. But there's no point in going to a realtor if you can't even go see a house until you get pre-approved.
Mm.
So I honestly think you need to go find a loan officer first, and then you can say I have a realtor on standby. Or the loan officers usually work with realtors. I work with a lot of different realtors. And one of the things too, just want to throw this out to you, if you work with a lot of my realtors and you go through my credit repair program, credit restoration program, sorry, then you can get, they'll usually probably give you like a $300 or $400 realtor's credit at the end that you can use towards your closing costs. So
Boom. That's huge.
yeah.
I know when you're going through that process, every single iota of cent matters. It really does, because after you buy the house, guess what? You got to move into it. So you got to save as much as possible on the front end. That way it's not a surprise on the back end. So we do have a question from the audience. So let me share this. It says, do you recommend all those extra payments that credit bureaus offer us to watch our credit reports for our identity theft? Identity theft is on the rise right now.
I know. Do you recommend all those extra payments that the credit bureaus offer? Extra payments us to watch out our credit reports for identity theft. I'm trying to understand the question Do you recommend all those extra
Let's see if
payments
she clarifies.
that the credit report offer? The credit cards offer us to watch
Well,
out
her
for?
second comment is I have put a freeze on my credit reports to keep people from looking at them, and the freezes are free.
Well, the freezes are good to have because they can't really see what's on your credit report. But I'm trying to see like really honestly, you can put a statement on your report and have them to contact you if somebody try to pull your credit. So you know how they say the statement summary, you can go put something on there. So because when I did that on my credit report, I actually didn't even freeze mine, to be honest, which is probably the better way to do it. But I actually put a statement on my report, and it stated that if anybody try to pull my credit, contact me and get verification that it's me. And they did it every time. Every freaking time somebody, I would actually do it, they would call me. So if they're offering you like to pay for some other kind of programs, and I'm thinking that's what you're asking me, but I hope you can clarify. Um, then it's not that important. I would just the freezes are fine, and then actually you can do a statement. Experian lets you actually type in the statement or send it to them in your portal. But I do recommend, and I tell anybody every Monday I would check my credit. Every freaking Monday I would check my credit. And I know I would not tell everybody to pay for things because you can get Experian for free, you can get TransUnion for free, you can get Equifax for free, and Credit Karma. So let me tell you about Credit Karma. Credit Karma is your Vantage scores. They're not your FICO 8. They're not your FICO 5, 4, and 2. For real estate, it's 5, 4, and 2. So when y'all go into y'all FICO 8 and be thinking y'all in the 800s or whatever, or Credit Karma saying you don't believe it, because we pull 5, 4, and 2. Now, if you ever want to see your mortgage scores, you can go on myfico.com and pull your mortgage scores. So also Credit Karma is good because Credit Karma updates every week. Don't look at the score, but your profile is usually the same. So for me, for my answer to you I will get a statement, and you can freeze your accounts as well. But the statement also gives you that extra security against identity theft because it is on the rise for sure.
Excellent. Yeah, that's huge. So cool. Well, thank you for sharing.
It is.
So how can people get a hold of you if they would like to get pre-approved for a loan, or if they want to fix their credit? Like, how can they get a hold of you?
So you can always find me on social media on Tracy Thompson, and I'll be in a blue dress. But you also can TE Home Loans. So you can find me on my website, TE Home Loans, TE Consultant. I don't know if I can drop it. I don't know how we can drop it, but you can find me on social media. I'm pretty much on social media, and then you can also Google me or whatever. So you can find me. Trust me, you can find me. You can catch me on my websites at Tracy Thompson Speaks or T Consultant or T Home Loans. I mean, I got a lot of things going on. But if you need to get a credit consultation, I do those for free. If you need to come on one of my home buying seminars that's free every other Wednesday, then we can kind of set that up as well. And you can just, register and just come on, which would be great.
Excellent. Well, definitely reach out to her if that's something you're interested in, and fixing your credit and buying a home. And anytime you start building wealth for your family, then there's no time like the present, because as high as interest rates are now, like no telling if it's going to be higher or lower in the future. But if it does go lower, you can always refi. If it does go higher, you'll be grateful you start now.
Right. And so, but I want to talk about that too, real quick, about the high interest rates, because I deal with a lot of investors. And so it's good if you, for generational wealth purposes, or if you just want to learn how to be an investor. We have different programs with that, where I do teach that part. But the interest rates, let's talk about that. 'Cause I know a lot of people get nervous and scared about that. But you do know that we have 2-1 buy down programs. We do have programs that you can actually buy down the interest rate. So, and then you also can refinance, just like you stated. So I would never tell people, okay, well, don't buy. And people getting frantic behind it. But if you keep waiting and it never moves, Well, we're predicting that it's going to go down. We always predict that it's going to go down. That's what they're saying. But then what if it doesn't, right? And so at the end of the day, I just feel like because they're coming out with all these different programs, like even with the down payment assistance, if you in Texas, you got a 6.875. If that's still a decent interest rate opposed to an 8 that you can have, and it's fixed. Only thing about that is that if you ever sell your house or whatever, they do want that, it's not forgivable. That's the only thing about that down payment, but it's another one that is 3-year forgivable. But again, if you contact somebody, and hopefully it's me or not, that can educate you with different programs, it'll definitely work for you. So you need to really just get educated so you'll know and not be scared, and then you'll be waiting for years and years, and then you don't ever get a house. So.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate that. And I hope the guests, if you got any value, go ahead and smash that like button. Type in the chat how much you appreciate Tracy for her wisdom and sharing it with you guys. And so I thank you, Tracy, for sharing your wisdom with me and with our audience. And so hopefully it was helpful and beneficial and help them go to that next level to start them to their next wealthy place.
Not a problem. I appreciate it.
All right. If you, once again, got any value out of today, go ahead and smash that like button. Share this with friends and family. If you know somebody that's kind of on the fence, they're like, well, interest rates are kind of crazy right now. I don't know if I should buy a house or not. Definitely share this program so that way they can reach out to Tracy, and that way they know that there's options out there. Like, you don't have to be scared in this market. And so you have to jump out, just take a step of faith, take a leap, because eventually houses are going to go up in value because there's always more people, but there's never more land. And so that's why real estate is always a good investment. Obviously, it goes down and it goes in cycles, but more times than not, it's going to go up and up and up. So highly encourage you to take advantage of that. I know we have, and I'm very grateful that we have. So if you, once again, got any value out of today, smash that like button. Stay tuned next week as we share more valuable information with you guys on how to manage your personal finances, because the difference between where you're at right now and where you want to be is knowledge, but not just knowledge, it's application of that knowledge. You actually have to do something. So that's my encouragement for you. And I appreciate you guys for tuning in and for getting lit.